Chapter 91 Xian Lin'er agrees. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Xian Lin'er carefully looked at the piece of planning paper in her hand. This Soul Palace plan is a special version for Xian Lin'er, which is different from what others have seen. Xian Lin'er's cold eyes were filled with thoughts and her aura was elegant. You want me to be the instructor of the Soul Palace? Xian Lin'er looked at Huo Yuhao. Huo Yuhao nodded obediently. Yes, teacher. If you can become the instructor of the student organization Soul Palace, it will also be beneficial to the students' learning of soul tools. Promoting the Soul Guide is another bait prepared by Huo Yuhao for Xian Lin'er. Xian Lin'er was indeed very moved, but she still shook her head slightly and said, "You don't understand." The Poseidon Pavilion meeting did not pass a resolution to fully develop the Soul Guidance Department. The Academy will not allow the Soul Guidance Department to actively interfere with the Martial Soul Department. Even if I am the mentor of your student organization, once it affects the development of the martial arts system, the elders will stop your organization. Xian Lin'er sighed. Although I am the dean of the Soul Guidance Department, I have to admit that the foundation of the college is the Martial Soul Department. If the Soul Guidance Department wants to develop, it must mainly assist the Martial Soul Department. Huo Yuhao said, I have investigated and found that many seniors in the inner courtyard look down on soul guidance devices and disdain their use. However, this tendency is very rare among students in the outer courtyard. They do not resist or pursue soul guidance devices. Therefore, I think we can use the Soul Palace to promote soul guidance devices. We don't need too many people to learn how to make soul guidance devices. We just need everyone to use the soul guidance devices normally. When our group of students from the outer college enter the inner college, we will also push the college to pay more attention to the Soul Guidance Department. To put it bluntly, the soul guidance device is just a tool. If you just use it without learning how to make it, it will not affect your cultivation. On the contrary, it can increase strength. Huo Yuhao actually doesn't understand why Shrek Academy is so resistant to soul guidance devices. Even the auxiliary soul masters don't have a few invincible shields. In the original book, if Shrek Academy had paid a little more attention to soul guides, there would have been no tragedy in which the students participating in the Soul Master competition were wiped out by the group. Xian Lin'er thoughtfully tapped Huo Yuhao and said, "Is this your attitude towards the Soul Guide? Is the Soul Guide a tool?" Although Xian Lin'er was the dean of the Soul Guidance Department, Huo Yuhao still said truthfully, for most soul masters, soul guidance tools are just a tool. They only need to be able to use them, not to make them. Soul guidance tools, just like tables, chairs and beds, we all use them in our daily necessities, but do we need to learn to make them? Most students in the academy only need to be able to use soul tools. I think this is also the future development direction of soul mentors. Professional matters are left to professionals. Soul mentors are responsible for making soul guides, and soul masters are responsible for using soul guides to fight. Everyone performs their own duties and develops their expertise. Xian Lin'er agreed, "You are right, but it's a pity that the elders in Poseidon Pavilion can't see it as clearly as you." Xian Lin'er sighed in her heart. If Yan Xiaozhe could see as clearly as Huo Yuhao, the Academy's Soul Guidance Department would not be so far behind the Sun Moon Empire. Yan Xiaozhe is really not as good as her new 12-year-old disciple. Xian Lin'er's resentment towards Yan Xiaozhe became full again. As the dean of the Soul Guidance Department, she naturally hopes that the Soul Guidance Department will develop, but she is also a super Douluo, and she understands that a soul master must be based on martial soul cultivation. Therefore, the development model Huo Yuhao mentioned is the most suitable development model for Shrek Academy. Xian Lin'er agreed very much with what Huo Yuhao said, but it was a pity that Shrek Academy's attitude of not paying attention to the soul guidance system has been maintained for thousands of years. Even the students in the inner academy are ashamed of using soul guidance tools. This kind of thinking has been deeply ingrained in the inner academy. Perhaps, according to what Huo Yuhao said, starting from the outer courtyard is a good way to make changes. Xian Lin'er decided to give it a try. Her eyes flashed, she rubbed Huo Yuhao's head and said softly, "I agree to your request. Yuhao, you are very talented and have great ideas. In the future, it may be up to you to reform the academy and revitalize the Soul Guidance Department." Huo Yuhao said obediently, I will work hard. But teacher, you are wrong. This is not called revitalizing the Soul Guidance Department. Our Soul Guidance Department has never been successful, so how can we revitalize it? Xian Lin'er was heartbroken. This disciple was good at everything but liked to contradict her, she said angrily, of course it's rejuvenation. The soul guidance system is stronger than the martial soul system in my hands. If you don't believe me, ask Yan Xiaozhe and see if he can beat me. Huo Yuhao showed a polite smile and explored the completion status of the solidification task in the Sea of Spirit, recruiting title Douluo, completed. His pink eyes looked carefully at the cold and elegant beauty master. At this time, the beauty master was already his. The brainwashing power of hive mind is awesome. Huo Yuhao has no idea of reviving the Soul Guidance Department. When everything is ready, he will lead all the teachers and students in the Soul Palace to leave Shrek and join the Spirit Transferring Pagoda. Naturally, the beautiful master will also be packed away. I just hope that Shrek Academy will not be emptied by myself when the time comes. Speaking of which, the Spirit Transferring Pagoda is really the formidable enemy of Shrek Academy. In Do-san, the Spirit Transferring Pagoda seems to be one of the culprits that destroyed Shrek. In the remaining time, Huo Yuhao carefully supplemented the basic knowledge of soul mentors. He couldn't waste the combined brainpower of 30 people. After studying all night, the time came to the afternoon of the next day. Huo Yuhao felt that he was now able to make a second-level soul guide. Originally, Huo Yuhao didn't plan to study soul guidance devices in depth. He just wanted to research and make cameras to record the beautiful scenery in life, especially the beauty of Wang Dong and others. Developed a communicator to facilitate his time management, but he didn't expect that with such a powerful brain power, he didn't need to waste too much time to study soul guides. His future development direction is to recruit members of the faction with all his strength, the more the better. According to Huo Yuhao's calculations, the brain power of 30 people is the limit of his use, and if there are more, he will fall into deep meditation. According to 30 people per day, he needs more than 10,000 people a year. So he needs to recruit at least more than 10,000 people to open this enlightenment plug-in all year round. The task is heavy and the road is long. Huo Yuhao is full of motivation. When Huo Yuhao returned to the dormitory, he could still feel the restlessness of the students along the way. Today, Senior Bebe won 14 consecutive victories, the highest winning streak today. He fought 14 games in one day, and even defeated a soul sect with his soul master cultivation. Senior Bebe should be the strongest in the outer courtyard. Senior Su Sancher is not inferior to Senior Bebe, he also won 10 consecutive victories. If Senior Su Sanchi's martial soul was not a defense system, he could definitely surpass the 14 consecutive victories. Just tell him whether he has surpassed it. Can't you just put aside the facts? Huo Yuhao turned back in surprise, wanting to see whose general this was, who actually had such insights, and must be recruited to the propaganda department to let him shine. Chapter 92 Soul Hall Propaganda and Student Reactions. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Didn't you notice Senior Sister Nan Nan? She looks so beautiful even when wearing clothes with advertisements printed on them. She is worthy of being the most beautiful girl in the outer courtyard. It's a pity that a flower was stuck in cow dung and was pursued by a junior. Someone said sourly. Huo Yuhao immediately turned his eyes away and remembered the student who was jealous of him. He was not a petty person, really. He just wanted to find an opportunity for this student to practice sticking flowers in cow dung. Let him stick 100,000 flowers, and he will surely understand that flowers stuck in cow dung will only grow more colorful. Speaking of which, Senior Bebe and Senior Su Sancher also wore advertising clothes. They seem to be promoting some soul hall. Is it the soul hall? Why do I remember it was the spirit hall? Don't dare to say anything nonsense. What kind of power is the soul hall? Senior Bebe and the others have joined such an unknown organization. I heard it is an organization that belongs to us students only. Let's go and see it when the time comes. I haven't heard of any student organization yet. Let's go and see it together when the time comes. Huo Yuhao showed a satisfied smile. The promotion was also initially effective. Advertising on clothes is just like hiring celebrity spokespersons in the previous life, just to let everyone know the name and then arouse curiosity. Judging from what I saw and heard along the way, the goal has been achieved. The next step is to sell campus newspapers. I hope Bebe won't be too worried tomorrow. The next day, the ring match, Huo Yuhao has defeated 10 challengers. All of them were knocked off the ring by him using simulated illusions. Then every challenger was unconvinced and thought he could break the illusion. One of the 6th grade seniors was the funniest. Huo Yuhao's spirit sharing had just connected to him, and he hadn't even started to use illusions to affect him, but he thought he was in an illusion, and used range-type soul skills to attack randomly, consuming all his soul power. The referee threw him out of the ring with a dark face, probably because he felt that this performance was too embarrassing for the people of Shrek Academy. There were more and more spectators watching Huo Yuhao's game below the stage, and it was very lively. They held campus newspapers in their hands and watched curiously the culprit who convinced Tanya, Bei, and Su Sancher with his ideals, and caused Bei and Tanya to break up for the Soul Palace. In the crowd, 2 little girls watched Huo Yuhao's game quietly. The one on the left was tall, with short golden hair, and looked very neat and tidy. The big water blue eyes had long eyelashes, and there was a beauty mole at the corner of the eye. The girl on the right had short fiery red hair, red eyes, delicate features, and skin as white as jade. Her eyes were full of dissatisfaction, and she looked at Huo Yuhao angrily. The 2 girls were Ning Tian and Wu Feng, who were freshmen like Huo Yuhao. Among them, Wu Feng was the first person to be eliminated by Huo Yuhao in the ring match, and Huo Yuhao had a deep impression of her. When Wu Feng's martial spirit possessed her, her delicate body grew directly to the appearance of 16 or 17 years old, and her development was completed directly. Even her school uniform was torn. Fortunately, the girl wore a very elastic leather jacket inside. Ning Tian, why should we come to watch his game? He can only use illusions to trick others and let others walk out of the ring by themselves. It's just taking advantage of the rules of the game. If it's a life and death duel, I can definitely beat him. Wu Feng's tone was full of dissatisfaction. Ning Tian shook her head. She didn't think so. She had inquired about Huo Yuhao's news and knew that Huo Yuhao had defeated Su Sancher head-on. Now he used illusions to trick his opponent to win, not because he had no strength, but just to save soul power, defending the ring, but it takes a day. Ning Tian herself is a pragmatist, and she doesn't think there is anything wrong with Huo Yuhao playing tricks on his opponent to win. Ning Tian whispered, Wu Feng, he can make others unaware that he has walked off the stage, so naturally he can also make others unaware of his attack. If he takes the opportunity to attack you after you are in the illusion, can you detect it? Wu Feng opened his mouth and finally said dejectedly, okay, I admit that he is a little stronger than me, but I will catch up with him. I will definitely be stronger than him in the future. Ning Tian watched Huo Yuhao defeat his opponent again, holding the newspaper in his hand, stunned for a long time, and suddenly said, what do you think? I recruit him into the 9 Treasures Glazed sect, that every generation of the 9 Treasures Glazed sect needs to find a powerful battle soul master as a partner. In Ning Tian's opinion, Huo Yuhao is very suitable. The information she investigated did not include any information about Huo Yuhao joining any sect. Wu Feng heard this, and panic appeared on her delicate face. Ning Tian, don't you want me anymore? Ning Tian held Wu Feng helplessly and comforted her. How could I not want you? We are sisters who grew up together, and we will always be good sisters in the future. Wu Feng's eyes flashed with reluctance. She actually had different ideas about Ning Tian, but she couldn't say it. When she looked at Huo Yuhao again, her eyes were filled with hostility. Ning Tian continued to explain, according to the information I have investigated, he is not only very powerful, but also very smart. Ning Tian handed the newspaper to Wu Feng, and her beautiful eyes signaled Wu Feng to carefully read the content she outlined in the newspaper. The Soul Hall he established is very important to our Jiubao Yoli sect. I will also join the Soul Hall and try to see if I can become the head of a department, or become the deputy hall master. Wu Feng asked in confusion, isn't this Soul Hall just an organization composed of students? Is it that important? They are students on campus, and after graduation they are the talents that all the major forces are fighting for. If I can be in charge of a department in the Soul Palace, I am sure that I can recruit all the members into the 9 Treasures glazed sect when I graduate. Ning Tian stared at Huo Yuhao on the stage with a gleaming look. There are definitely more than one people who hold the same idea as Ning Tian, but Huo Yuhao doesn't know it. Even if he knew, Huo Yuhao would only applaud and welcome them. The Soul Palace is not a winery. Once a spy joins the Soul Palace, they become a family of 100%, and the worst can provide him with brain power. With Huo Yuhao's 30 consecutive victories, he became completely famous. Some people have called him the #1 in the outer courtyard, and his strength is even higher than Beibei and Su Sancher. At the same time, the Soul Palace also became completely famous among the students, and Beibei and Jiang Nan, who were responsible for recruiting members, were too busy. Of course, Beibei and Tangya were also famous. Tangya was responsible for selling campus newspapers, which published news about her, and Beibei, after selling campus newspapers for a long time, Tangya couldn't stand the strange looks from her classmates. She handed the work to Wang Dongxiaxio and ran away with her head covered. Her boyfriend broke up with her because of Soul Palace, but she still had to help Soul Palace sell newspapers and promote Soul Palace diligently. What kind of suffering is this? It's like working to earn money for your boyfriend, encouraging your boyfriend to give gifts to his mistress, and dating his mistress. Everyone has deep sympathy and respect for Tang Yabao. Senior Tangya is really self-disciplined. Chapter 93, Xian Lao and Wang Yan. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At the same time, Huo Yuhao's class teacher Wang Yan was standing by the Poseidon Lake, with an extremely respectful expression on his face. Not far in front of him, an old man with disheveled hair was sitting there. His image was really bad. What was supposed to be a white robe has turned into taupe, and is damaged in many places, and his hair is disheveled. Her feet without shoes and socks were soaked in the cool Poseidon Lake, and she held a huge gourd in her right hand. He picked it up and took a sip from time to time, and a strong aroma of wine suddenly came out. In the other hand, he held a roasted chicken and started eating and drinking it with a mouthful of wine and a mouthful of meat, regardless of the greasiness. Xian Lao, that's it. We have tested these exercises and they can indeed strengthen a certain body part more efficiently. Wang Yan's voice revealed excitement. If these exercises are popularized in the academy, it will definitely improve the strength of the students again. Let the agility attack system focus on training the legs, and the power attack system should focus on training the arms and abdomen. With these special exercises, students can improve their physical fitness and get twice the result with half the effort. Well. The sloppy old man known as Mr. Xian swallowed a mouthful of chicken and turned to look at Wang Yan. His eyes were a little scattered, even a little confused, as if he didn't listen to Wang Yan's words seriously at all. It's interesting. Show me the test report, Mr. Xian muttered, wiped the oil on his hands on his clothes, then took the white paper handed over by Wang Yan, leaving a few fingerprints on it. While eating and drinking, Mr. Xian browsed the report. His scattered eyes gradually condensed, and his red eyes shone brightly. Where do you get these exercise moves from? Xian Laosan finished the chicken drumsticks in 2 bites and drank the wine 1 sip after another. Wang Yan said, I learned it from a student named Huo Yuhao in our class. He was going to teach this set of movements to his classmates. I couldn't determine whether it was good or bad, so I tested the effect specifically. Then tell him to stop teaching it to others. The college will teach these special training to the students later. Mr. Xian said casually. Wang Yan said quickly, but these are all movements developed by that student. If the college wants to teach them to students, it needs his permission. Xian Lao paused and said, since he is a student of Shrek Academy, and the academy teaches and trains him, shouldn't he make some contributions to the academy? Besides, he originally wanted to teach these to the students. In this case, he still let the academy teach. Who can be better than our academy in educating students? As for him, since he is still a new student, he should need a soul-raising pill, so let's reward him with a soul-raising pill. Mr. Wang Yan also wanted to help Huo Yuhao get some benefits. He hopes to use Lao Xian's exercise routine to promote it in the academy. Under this premise, he will do his best to help his students win more rewards. In his opinion, for a force, the value of this set of special training movements far exceeds that of the Soul Ascension pill. The reward given by Mr. Xian was obviously too little. It's quite interesting that the original martial soul defeated a third-rank soul master with a first-level cultivation level. Mr. Xian shook the wine gourd and said with great interest. Is he not from the Numenon sect? Elder Xian asked. No. The academy has recruited a real genius this time. The original martial soul eyes are also spiritual soul masters, which means that his martial arts are actually eyes and brains. You are very lucky to be able to see the best in your lifetime. Especially since he was able to defeat a third-level soul master with a first-level cultivation level, it is very likely that his martial soul has been activated and has even completed its second awakening. When Mr. Xian said this, his cloudy eyes showed a hint of excitement. Is the secret of the second awakening of the martial soul about to be revealed to the academy? Mr. Xian stood up and stepped on the lawn with his wet feet, looking very casual. In this case, I will find an opportunity to meet him in person. Yes. Wang Yan agreed respectfully. Huo Yuhao had already completed the game at this time and achieved an astonishing 24 consecutive victories. One went higher than Su Sanchi's than Beibei's. After 15 consecutive victories, he encountered opponents who were above Soul Master, which meant that he had strong mental power and had absorbed a lot of Electrolux experience in the use of mental power. Otherwise he would have been exhausted and failed. Huo Yuhao walked up to Wang Dong and Xiao. Xiao with all the students' eyes filled with respect and admiration. He leaned against Wang Dong, exhausted both physically and mentally, and asked, "Where's Sister Xiaoya?" That there was a smile in Xiao Zhao's smart eyes, and he said angrily, "Monitor, what do you think? You actually asked senior Sister Xiaoya to sell newspapers with her own gossip news. You don't know that all the classmates who just got the newspapers while reading the newspaper, I was watching senior Sister Xiaoya. Our newspaper stall was crowded with everyone, and senior Sister Xiaoya was so embarrassed that she left midway." Huo Yuhao smiled awkwardly. He really hadn't considered this. Huo Yuhao could imagine what kind of scene this would be, just like a popular female star in her previous life personally selling newspapers and periodicals that published news about her divorce. Maybe not many people really care about the news of the breakup, and everyone is watching. How is the newspaper selling? Huo Yuhao asked. All sold out. Wang Dong said proudly. Huo Yuhao was a little surprised. You know, they printed 1,000 copies, and there were only more than 1,000 students in Shrek's outer courtyard, not more than 1,500, Xiao Xiao explained sympathetically. Someone bought 200 copies and took them to Shrek City to sell. Huo Yuhao nodded. People in Shrek City were indeed very concerned about the information in Shrek Academy. If the sales in Shrek City could really be opened, this campus newspaper seemed to be able to make money for Soul Palace. A campus newspaper sold for 5 bronze soul coins. In addition to the news on the Shrek campus, there were also cultivation experiences written by the seniors in the inner courtyard. In the future, there would be experiences written by the title Douluo. It was definitely worth the money. Now it seems that the task of promoting Soul Palace has been perfectly completed, and the campus newspaper has been accepted by everyone. Everything is going well. He has learned from the ability that Beibei and others have recruited members, more than 300 people. Soul Palace has more than 300 members today. Naturally, his solidification tasks have been achieved. 100 ordinary members, 10 members with the status of title Douluo, and 1 title Douluo have all been completed. But what puzzled Huo Yuhao was that the solidification task did not show completion. Huo Yuhao guessed that it might be necessary to reach this standard at the end of the task. In other words, he had to ensure that the Soul Hall would not be disbanded before the deadline, and the Hall Master must be him. Chapter 94 Moon. You young people are playing in a very trendy way. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Let's go back to the dormitory. We're really tired. Huo Yuhao looked a little sluggish. He had fought more than 20 times a day, and even he was a little tired. the three of them left the fighting spirit area together. Xiao Xiao stared at Huo Yuhao with dazzling eyes, his emerald eyes filled with admiration. Squad leader, you are so amazing. You have reached 24 consecutive victories, which is 10 wins higher than the second place. Huo Yuhao looked at the petite and cute Xiao Xiao. Her baby fat face was fair and smooth, and her 2 dimples were exposed when she smiled. He pinched Xiao Xiao's little face, feeling lubricated, and said with a smile, "This is not my strongest point. You will know my strongest point in the future." Xiao Xiao said confusedly, "Can you tell me earlier?" That her voice was waxy and shy, and her jade earlobes were red, as if they were about to bleed. Huo Yuhao couldn't be sure for a moment whether she understood the meaning of his words. If you heard it, what did Xiao Xiao mean by saying this? Could it be? Huo Yuhao frowned, his train of thought interrupted. Wang Dong pinched Huo Yuhao's waist with his fingers and gritted his teeth fiercely. Driving with other girls in front of her, right? Huo Yuhao quickly changed the subject and said, "I wonder what reward the academy will give to the first place in the arena competition." Wang Dong snorted lightly, retracted his bare hands, and said, "The college has never held this competition before. There will be a commendation meeting tomorrow, and we will naturally find out then." During the conversation, the three of them had arrived at the door of the freshman dormitory. Moon half closed his eyes, lying downstairs in the sun as if half asleep. Seeing Moon, Huo Yuhao had an idea in his mind. He took out a campus newspaper, walked to Moon with a smile on his face, and said, "Old man, are you basking in the sun again?" Moon didn't even raise his eyelids. He said this as if he hadn't been exposed to the sun for a day. He asked, "Why, are you here to exercise with me again?" Huo Yuhao waved the newspaper in his hand and said with a smile, "Hey, I won't do it today. I'm exhausted after fighting all day. Didn't I make a new thing? Let me show it to you." "Heh, let's see what new thing you came up with." Moon took the campus newspaper with a smile and started reading it with half-squinted eyes. The first titles are "The model couple on campus changed their love," Tanya claimed she no longer believes in love, Tanya's tears and Bebe regained true love, the model couple on campus changed their relationship because of him. Moon's half-lidded eyes widened instantly, and he couldn't help coughing. Huo Yuhao quickly patted the old man on the back. After regaining his breath, Moon held the newspaper tremblingly and started reading. After a long time, Moon sighed, "I am too old to keep up with the thinking of you young people. You young people are indeed quite new in playing." Moon was speechless. As his great-great-grandson, Bebe was a genius of the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect. He had always hoped that Bebe would be with Zhang Xuan and be separated from Tanya. After reading the newspaper, I found that his wish came true, but the reason for breaking up was a bit trendy, and Bebe also found true love again. This true love is quite unique. Not sure, check again. Fortunately, he didn't know that Bebe and Su Sancher had gone astray, otherwise, he would have been angry. Huo Yuhao asked, "Old man, what do you think of the Soul Palace?" As your great-great-grandson, Bebe has devoted so much to the establishment of this force. You have to support me no matter what, right? Tell Bebe, people still need to find a partner and cannot spend their whole lives with a powerful organization. Moon sighed, disciples and great-great-grandsons are both careless. Huo Yuhao looked strange. What did Moon mean by his answer? He asked tentatively, "Have you always agreed to my building a soul palace in the academy?" Moon lowered his eyes and read the newspaper carefully. He was so shocked by Bebe's news just now that he didn't even take a closer look at what the Soul Palace was about. After a while, Moon's eyes shone with light. He looked at Huo Yuhao with his deep eyes and said, "You must also know my identity. Let me ask you, are you willing to become my disciple?" Huo Yuhao said with some embarrassment, "Old man, you are late. I just became a disciple yesterday." Moon's wrinkled brows knitted together. The apprentice he was interested in had his beard cut off. "The teacher I worshipped yesterday was from the academy?" Moon asked, "Who did you worship as your teacher?" Huo Yuhao said, "It's Dean Xian Lin'er." Cough cough cough. Moon coughed again. The apprentice he fell in love with became his disciple just like that. This is also good. Moon sighed inwardly, just let his disciples be his disciples. In this way, they can be considered as one of Shrek Academy's own. Moon lowered his eyelids and said, when people don't move for a long time, they have to take a walk. A force that hasn't changed for a long time also needs to change. Maybe the academy really needs to change. The Soul Palace is a good thing, too. He's a bad guy, you have to control him yourself and don't let him endanger the academy. Yes. Huo Yuhao saluted respectfully. He knew that Mu'en supported him in establishing the Soul Palace. Moon waved his hand to signal Huo Yuhao to leave, his half-closed eyes flashing with thought. He would not stop Huo Yuhao from establishing the Soul Palace, but he still had to restrict what should be restricted. The future master of the Soul Palace may not necessarily be one of Shrek Academy's own. Huo Yuhao called to Wang Dong and Xiao Xiao, let's go back. He was in a very relaxed mood at this time, and his physical fatigue was much relieved. As long as he could get Moon's support, Yan Xiaoxia's obstruction would no longer be a problem. Huo Yuhao went back and spent some time with Wang Dong. Since the girl had tempted him last time, she refused to do it again no matter what, but Huo Yuhao was not in a hurry. He would be able to break through the girl's defense sooner or later. Wang Dong's own defense was not a problem. The most important thing was the defense set by Tang San on her body. In the original novel, Tang San did not seem to set any defense on Wang Dong, and it was okay for her to hug Huo Yuhao. Instead, he set a chastity lock on Tang Wudong after the last fusion, and she would be bounced away if she took advantage of him. Huo Yuhao guessed that the reason why he did not set any chastity lock on Wang Dong was to make Wang Dong get along with him normally, to make it easier to get closer, and put a dog chain on him. After putting on the dog chain, Tang Wudong in the original novel was like a piece of meat hanging in front of him, and he could only watch, but not eat it. In this way, Tang San could fully control and tame him. In the original book, Huo Yuhao could not be sure whether he would trigger the backhand that Tang San had left on Wang Dong if he really took the last step with Wang Dong at this time. He could not be sure what this backhand was, so he decided to play it safe. After all, even if he did not take the last step, the girl's other parts were also very charming. Huo Yuhao lay comfortably on the bed, his eyes scattered. Wang Dong's cheeks were rosy, as delicate as the core of a peach blossom, and a pair of white jade feet curled up together, emitting a glittering water light, very white and lovely. After a long time, Wang Dong turned over and leaned in Huo Yuhao's arms. Huo Yuhao looked at the tired girl and said softly, "My bed is wet, let's go to your bed, I'll help you rub your legs." The girl made an inaudible hum sound, and a pair of smooth and white jade legs clamped together. Chapter 95 Meier. You are listening at novelfull.audio. It was another morning, the air was fresh, the breeze was gentle, and the students of Shrek's outer courtyard gathered in Shrek Square. Soon, Yan Xiaoxia led a group of teachers to the front of all the students. There was also a beautiful woman walking side by side with him. The beautiful woman looked to be in her 30s, with a charming temperament, a soft figure, willow eyebrows and almond eyes, moist skin, and exuded the gentle and charming temperament of a wife. Seeing the respectful attitude of other teachers towards her, Huo Yuhao knew that she was most likely the vice president of the Wuhuan department, Yan Xiaoxia's wife Meier. And she was indeed, as her name suggests. No wonder Yan Xiaoxia finally chose Meier instead of teacher Xian Lin'er. Although the two of them had their own looks, teacher Xian Lin'er had a cold and noble temperament, a strong personality, and was difficult to get close to. Meier was completely different. She looked charming, gentle and quiet, and was easily favored by others. Yan Xiaoxia held a folder in his hand, and his sharp eyes swept all the students below, pausing especially on Huo Yuhao. One of his purposes for holding the Challenger Arena was to teach Huo Yuhao a lesson and tame him into a talent that belonged to Shrek as he expected. After Ma Xiaotao, his disciple whom he regarded as his own son, was harmed by Huo Yuhao, he became more urgent. In addition, he wanted to take this opportunity to teach Huo Yuhao a lesson. For this reason, he specially arranged for senior contestants to fight against Huo Yuhao, but he didn't expect that he would make the opponent famous. The second purpose of the Challenger Arena was to promote the practical meaning of the school motto, "Those who dare not cause trouble are mediocre," which was not as expected under Huo Yuhao's disruption. It was promoted, but because of the influence of the campus newspaper and the Soul Hall, the students paid more attention to the gossip about Tangya and Bei Bei, the Soul Hall, and even Huo Yuhao, the freshman. The challenger arena he held was completely a wedding dress for others. He remembered Huo Yuhao thoroughly and had made up his mind to find an opportunity to educate Huo Yuhao and let him know the rules of Shrek Academy. It just so happens that Huo Yuhao created a campus newspaper. This is a propaganda tool that must be in the hands of the academy. Didn't he also create that Soul Palace? Shrek Academy does not allow any student organizations on campus. Yan Xiaozhe smiled and said loudly, I believe everyone knows that the Challenger Arena has ended successfully. This arena competition aims to promote the school motto that not daring to cause trouble is a mediocre person, and encourage everyone to dare to challenge. I believe that everyone has correctly understood the true meaning of the school motto and will not make a wrong interpretation of the school motto. And this arena also decided a group of winners. Among them, there are 13 people who have won more than 8 consecutive victories. The academy decided to commend these 13 people. First place, Huo Yuhao, 24 consecutive victories, out. Suddenly, the whole audience cheered warmly, and even a group of teachers applauded under the leadership of Meier. As a freshman who defeated many senior students and won the first place, they could foresee that this would be another rising star in the academy. Second place, Bei, 14 consecutive wins, step out. As Yan Xiaozhe finished reading out the results one by one, 13 people stood in front of all the students. Yan Xiaozhe looked at the 13 people, smiled gently, and said, Now I will announce the rewards for the 13 winners this time. These 13 people will receive a unified reward from the academy. Everyone can make a request to the academy when they need a soul ring, and the academy will assist them in obtaining a soul ring that they can afford and is the most suitable for them. Huo Yuhao curled his lips when he heard this reward was just a nice word. If they asked the academy to obtain a 100,000-year soul ring, it would depend on whether the academy agreed, Yan Xiaozhe continued. In addition, in view of the outstanding performance of the top 3 students in this arena competition, the academy decided to give each of them a 10,000-year whale glue as a special reward. Everyone was surprised when they heard about the special reward. But no one raised any objections. These 3 people, especially Huo Yuhao, all defeated powerful enemies one after another and finally won a high streak. 10,000-year whale glue can improve the physical fitness of soul masters and increase the years for soul masters to absorb soul rings. This reward is better than nothing for Huo Yuhao. His physical fitness is enough to support him to absorb soul rings of 20,000 to 30,000 years. And adding a few hundred years is icing on the cake, Yan Xiaozhe said. You 3, please go. On stage to receive the award, on the podium, Meier smiled and took 3 pieces of whale glue from Douluo One. Originally, Douluo One was to present the award, but she noticed Huo Yuhao and decided to present the award to him personally. She knew about Ma Xiaotao and Huo Yuhao, but her attitude towards Huo Yuhao was completely different from Yan Xiaozhe's. She and Yan Xiaozhe had never had children, so she had always raised Ma Xiaotao as her own daughter. At this time, she looked at Huo Yuhao like a mother-in-law looking at her son-in-law. She was very satisfied with Huo Yuhao. Not only was he strong and talented, but he also looked the best she had ever seen. He was definitely a perfect match for Ma Xiaotao. If Huo Yuhao and she were in the same era, she probably wouldn't like Yan Xiaozhe. Huo Yuhao took the whale glue from Meier. The beautiful woman looked him up and down with a smile in her eyes, which made him feel quite uncomfortable. After receiving the reward, he quickly left the podium. Yan Xiaozhe saw that everyone had returned to the queue, and then he continued, Okay, you can go back to the classroom for class. Huo Yuhao, follow me. Huo Yuhao was startled. What did Yan Xiaozhe want to do with him? Was it about the campus newspaper and the Soul Palace? Realizing that something was wrong, Huo Yuhao hurriedly said to Wang Dong and Xiao Xiao, Go to the Soul Guidance Department and ask Dean Xian Lin'er. Huo Yuhao quietly followed Yan Xiaozhe and Meier. Yan Xiaozhe's office was on the top floor of the teacher's office area. The room was spacious and bright, unlike Xian Lin'er's office, which was a little crowded because of the laboratory table. Yan Xiaozhe sat upright on the office chair in the room, his face solemn, staring at Huo Yuhao quietly. His momentum gradually strengthened, and the atmosphere in the room suddenly became solemn. Huo Yuhao stared back at Yan Xiaozhe without fear, without any hesitation. He understood the pressure of the eyes, which was a kind of psychological pressure. As long as he was not afraid, this pressure was not as real as the pressure of soul power. Meier looked at the two people confronting each other quietly, without any intention of participating. She knew that the reason she could beat Xian Lin'er was that her personality was not as strong as Xian Lin'er's, and she was mostly in agreement with Yan Xiaozhe on the affairs of the academy, so she could become the winner. In front of other people, she didn't oppose Yan Xiaozhe much. Even if she had any opinions, she would only raise them with Yan Xiaozhe after returning home, and Yan Xiaozhe just happened to fall for it. Yan Xiaozhe and Huo Yuhao confronted each other for a while, and seeing that Huo Yuhao was unmoved and unaffected, he had to say in a solemn voice, "Huo Yuhao, do you know that your behavior has seriously damaged the academy?" Chapter 96 Huo Yuhao, Dean Yan, you are actually just a selfish person. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Huo Yuhao smiled lightly and said, Dean, please don't slander me. As a student of Shrek, I have not harmed the academy in the slightest. As a titled Douluo, Dean, you should not be concerned about Sister Xiaotao. Feel free to slander me. Although he does plan to take a large number of people out of Shrek Academy in the future, hasn't this been done yet? He can't know his own thoughts, can he? When Huo Yuhao mentioned Ma Xiaotao, Yan Xiaozhe became angry. What's this? This is a naked provocation. It was contempt for him, a titled Douluo. Yan Xiaozhe slapped the table, and the pressure of his soul force suddenly fell on Huo Yuhao, forcing him to half kneel on the ground. Yan Xiaozhe felt much relieved now, and said coldly, you said you didn't harm the college, then tell me, what was written in the campus newspaper? What is the Soul Palace? Huo Yuhao gritted his teeth, stared at Yan Xiaozhe coldly, and sneered, I didn't know that publishing some gossip about men and women and their cultivation experiences in the campus newspaper would harm the college. Is this information the college's secret? Then I think Bebe Big Brother and Sister Xiaoya should be very honored. Their falling in love and breaking up have become the secret of the largest power in the mainland. I have to talk to them about it. As for the Soul Palace, it is a student organization that aims to serve and help classmates. Dean Yan, are you harming the college by helping classmates? I would like to ask, how can helping classmates harm the college? Smart words make you look pretty. Yan Xiaozhe's eyes were cold. In his opinion, Huo Yuhao's words were just sophistry. He thought he had seen through Huo Yuhao. He felt that Huo Yuhao was too thoughtful and selfish and did not take the academy to heart. He would never allow this. Once such a student becomes the leader of all students, it will cause endless harm to the college. Young people, it's better not to have too many ideas and just accept college education. I should have said that the Challenger Arena is to promote the school motto, but you are selling campus newspapers at this time. It was you who questioned the school motto in the first place, and now you are preventing the college from promoting the true meaning of the school motto. What are your intentions? Yan Xiaozhe he squinted his eyes. If it weren't for the fact that such a genius would never be a spy, he would have thought that Huo Yuhao was sent by a hostile force. Huo Yuhao sneered. Dean Yan didn't reflect on why the publicity effect of the college's efforts was not as good as the campus newspaper created by a few of us students, but instead suspected me of ulterior motives. What about those people who have higher cultivation than me? Is it reasonable to suspect that they are evil soul masters? Dean Yan should reflect on why he didn't do his job well, instead of resenting those who did better. Yan Xiaozhe saw the contempt in Huo Yuhao's eyes and immediately became angry, but he couldn't refute it yet. The college's efforts to publicize and promote it were made unsatisfactory by a few gossips. No matter how you look at it, it is a matter of ability. Douluo One was mainly in charge of the Challenger Arena. Yan Xiaozhe felt that there was something wrong with Douluo One's thinking. If it didn't work, he would change the teaching director. Douluo One, who suffered a terrible disaster. Yan Xiaozhe continued to question, then you talk about the Soul Palace. In the name of helping students, it has established a country within a country in the college. It not only disrupts the management of the college, but also wants to instigate students to confront the college. Are you students forming cliques to divide the academy? Your first step is to induce students to join the Soul Palace inside the academy, and your second step is to induce students to join the Soul Palace outside the academy. Huo Yuhao's voice was still cold. Dean Yan may have misunderstood the Soul Palace. The sole palace is to assist the college in better managing students and will not interfere with the college's management. There are some things that the college does not do well, which requires the Soul Hall. Isn't it good to go to the temple to make up for it? As for inciting students to confront the college and dividing the college, I don't know where Dean Yen derived his prejudices. As for what forces the students who join the Soul Palace will join in the future, that is their freedom, and the Soul Palace will not interfere. Could it be? Will the college interfere with students' whereabouts after graduation? Huo Yuhao asked back. Why does Shrek Academy have such a big influence in the Douluo Three Kingdoms? Isn't it because students are all over their military and senior officials? By the time of Do San, Shrek took advantage of this and colluded with the Tang sect, betrayed the country's interests, believed that he was above the Federation, and finally ended up reaping the consequences, Yan Xiaozhe said coldly. Who gave you the right to assist in the management of the college? Who gave you the right to supervise and report teachers? These are the college's own affairs, and the college will adjust itself. What you should do is obey manage. Selfish and domineering, this is how Huo Yuhao feels about Yan Xiaozhe and Shrek Academy. He was too lazy to argue with Yan Xiaozhe. This was a dispute of ideas, and it was useless for him to say anything as a one-ring soul master. What he has to do now is to wait until Xian Lin'er arrives, Huo Yuhao continued. The establishment of the Soul Palace is to make the college better and allow more students to become talented. I don't believe that Dean Yen can't see the benefits to the college. Yan Xiaozhe can naturally see the benefits brought by the Soul Palace, but in his opinion, Shrek Academy is not a place for cultivating talents, but a place for cultivating one's own people. According to the Soul Palace regulations, the academy may be able to cultivate more talents, but the taming of students has been greatly reduced, and it may even make students develop the bad habit of questioning and resisting the academy. He would never tolerate this. Before you established the Soul Palace, the academy was already the #1 academy on the continent. The academy does not need an unstable organization like the Soul Palace. You must disband the Soul Palace today and bring the campus newspaper under the management of the academy. Yan Xiaozhe ordered. Huo Yuhao suddenly sneered and said, Dean Yen seems to be doing everything for the academy, but in fact, it is all for his own selfish desires, right? Whether it is not allowing the Soul Palace to be established, suppressing the Soul Guidance Department, or being stubborn and conservative, you have not actually considered the interests of the academy. You just stubbornly think that you are right to do so, and that this is in line with the image of the academy in your mind, so you force others and force the academy to do so. You say that everything is for the academy, and even you think so in your heart, but the fact is that all this is just your self-intoxication and self-satisfaction. Ask yourself, have you really considered the gains and losses and future of the academy in every decision you make? Have you really asked other people's opinions seriously? All these decisions you made are out of your selfish desires and prejudices. Huo Yuhao is sure of this. If Yan Xiaozhe had seriously considered that suppressing the Soul Guidance Department would bring more gains than losses to Shrek Academy, he would never change his position and support the development of the Soul Guidance Department easily because of a word from Moon before his death. It can be seen that he made this decision on a whim. Yan Xiaozhe was angry when his mind was touched, but his years of cultivation only made his face cold. You are quite eloquent. I wanted to give you a chance to correct yourself, but you have no remorse at all. Then I will send you to Shrek Prison to reflect for a period of time. Shrek Prison is a place where evil soul masters are detained. If Huo Yuhao goes in, he will lose a layer of skin even if he doesn't die. Even if he comes out, he will most likely be labeled as an evil soul master. Yan Xiaozhe, you dare. At this time, the door of the dean's office boomed and was smashed to the ground, and Xian Lin'er's cold voice came in. Huo Yuhao looked at Xian Lin'er with surprise. Teacher, you are finally here. In fact, he knew that Xian Lin'er had arrived a long time ago, and the words just now were said to Xian Lin'er. Xian Lin'er saw the disciple who was forced to kneel on the ground, and she was furious. Her blue phoenix eyes seemed to be emitting flames. She waved her hand, and the pressure on Huo Yuhao disappeared instantly, and the whole person was pulled to her side. Xian Lin'er checked Huo Yuhao with concern, and was relieved when she found nothing wrong. Turning to look at Yan Xiaozhe, she said sternly, Yan Xiaozhe, I have always misjudged you. Now it seems that you are the kind of person my disciple said. You even want to send my disciple to the prison for evil soul masters. I don't believe you don't know what it means to send him there. From now on, I will sever all ties with you. As for the Soul Palace, I protect it. If you have the ability, you can disband it. Yuhao, let's go. Chapter 98, Xian Lao's Reward and Opposition. You are listening at novelfull.audio. As they were talking, the three of them had already returned to Yan Xiaozhe's office. Yan Xiaozhe and Meier saw Master Xian and saluted respectfully. Master Xian took out a chicken from the soul guide, pulled off the chicken leg and stuffed it into his mouth. His cloudy eyes were full of leisure, and he said, "Don't bother with these empty formalities. My disciple, come here, let me see your martial spirit." Huo Yuhao walked in front of Master Xian as he said, and his martial spirit possessed him. His pink-gold eyes radiated a bright glow, and a pink-gold spiritual shadow appeared behind him, and a strong mental power wave emanated faintly from him. Master Xian stopped eating and drinking, his cloudy eyes shone with brilliance, and he shook his head and nodded. He sighed, "What a pity, what a pity. The main body martial soul has not awakened for the second time." He had fought with the main body sect members whose main body martial souls awakened for the second time more than once, and knew that after the main body martial soul awakened for the second time, the martial soul phantom behind him would emit three kinds of brilliance: copper green, silver white and golden yellow, depending on the awakening level, but Huo Yuhao's obviously did not. After being disappointed for a while, Elder Xian became excited again. The strength of Xuan actually has such a strong mental power, almost at the level of a tidal Douluo. Elder Xian used the soul power pressure to test Huo Yuhao's physical fitness again, and was even more satisfied. With such a strong mental talent and good physical fitness, even if the cultivation is poor, a super Douluo can be piled up with medicinal materials. Not bad, not bad. Maybe it's a good thing that the main body martial soul has not awakened for the second time. Even if it has not awakened, there is this talent. If it is awakened, the talent will be even higher, at least it can reach level 98. Elder Xian took a sip of wine with interest. As for level 99, it is not just talent alone that can be achieved, talent is just one of the necessary conditions. Huo Yuhao smelled the alcohol in the air and frowned. He felt a little unhappy. His already bad impression of Xian Lao became worse. Anyone who was criticized by a drunk and sloppy old man and oppressed by soul power would be dissatisfied. Xian Lao frowned and thought for a while, muttering, "At this age, his mental power is the strongest I have ever seen, and so is his physical fitness. These two aspects do not need to be improved. It's just that his soul power is a little low, only level 20. Since you are Xiao Xian's disciple, then reward him better. The soul-raising pill is a little too inferior." As he said that, Xian Lao's hand flashed, and he took out a jade bottle and threw it to Huo Yuhao, saying, "This is a reward for you, jade soul liquid." Huo Yuhao saw the oil stains on the jade bottle and felt a little disgusted. He used his soul power to catch it in the air. Xian Lin'er said on the side, "Yuhao, why don't you thank Master Xian quickly? This bottle of jade soul liquid can make Soul Master at least 3 levels higher without any side effects. Even if Soul King takes it, it can be raised by 1 level. Even the Academy may not be able to produce 1 bottle every year. In fact, it's not that it can't be made, but the same medicinal materials are more valuable for making other things." Huo Yuhao quickly wiped off the oil stains on the jade bottle, and then put it into the soul guide, smiling, "Thank you, Master Xian. Since you gave me a good thing, you should tell me. Will I still dislike it if you tell me? Don't mention the oil stains. Even if there is some shit on the bottle, he can sell it to a dog tycoon like Su Sancher. Of course, he will definitely rinse it clean. I believe he will buy it happily, and maybe he will even thank me." Seeing Huo Yuhao, who was arrogant at first and respectful later, Yan Xiaozhe couldn't help but snorted coldly. Xian Lin'er said sarcastically, "Yan Xiaozhe, no one will think you are dumb if you don't speak." Yan Xiaozhe was speechless. Huo Yuhao smiled and held the slightly cool little hand of his beautiful master. Xian Lin'er was captured by him without any resistance. Not to mention, it feels good to have such a domineering and protective master. especially when she is ruthless to her former lover for her. Xian Lao raised his eyebrows and asked lazily, Xiao Yan, what did you do to offend Xiao Xian? Yan Xiaozhe immediately had an idea and said, Lin'er's disciples established an organization. I think it is harmful to the academy and want to disband it, but Lin'er disagrees, so we started arguing. Xian Lin'er said angrily, Yan Xiaozhe, you are talking nonsense. If you didn't want to put my disciples in the evil soul master prison, would I argue with you? Xian Lao glanced at Yan Xiaozhe in surprise. A student with such a good talent wanted to be put in the evil soul master prison. Is Xiao Yan sober? Even if he came out of the evil soul master prison, he could become the black glove of the academy, but it is very likely that the students who will reach level 98 in the future will be black gloves. Isn't this a waste? Elder Xian said, it seems that the source of your quarrel is this organization. Can anyone tell me what this organization is? Yan Xiaozhe took out a piece of information about the Soul Hall that he had summarized from the newspaper and said, Elder Xian, this is the Soul Hall's charter. Elder Xian read the charter quietly, the wrinkles on his face gradually twisted together, and the chicken leg in his hand seemed to have lost its taste. After a long time, Elder Xian said to Huo Yuhao with some boredom, Students, you should just study hard. Assisting the college in management and monitoring teachers is not something you students should be responsible for. This is called the Soul Hall, so it's better to disband it as soon as possible. In Elder Xian's opinion, isn't this Soul Hall just a provocation to the authority of the college? Especially the rule that students monitor unqualified teachers together is particularly glaring to him, reminding him of the soul hunting operation that year. After that incident, he had been feeling guilty and even completely depressed. He only knew how to eat and drink all day. He had punished himself and repented. Wasn't that enough? The academy can punish teachers for making mistakes, and teachers can punish themselves, but it is not something that Shrek's students can control. Xian Lin'er said, Mr. Xian, as an academy, students are the foundation, and a student organization can better help the academy find problems, link the academy and students, and become a bridge for communication between the two sides. Xian Lin'er had already unconsciously thought about the problem from the perspective of the Soul Hall. Mr. Xian shook his head and staggered to his feet. Thinking of what happened that year, he didn't want to continue talking. He ordered, students with problems can communicate directly with teachers. Let's disband the Soul Hall. Then he disappeared at the stairs while drinking. Yan Xiaozhe smiled and said, Lin'er, even Master Xian thinks that this Soul Palace is harmful to the academy. I can't let it exist in the academy. Let's disband it. Yan Xiaozhe, call me Xian Lin'er. Xian Lin'er said coldly, as for the Soul Palace, I will propose to hold a meeting of the Sea God Pavilion. Whether it will be established will still be decided by the meeting. You don't have the final say, and Master Xian doesn't have the final say either. With that, Xian Lin'er took Huo Yuhao away without looking back. Yan Xiaozhe was surprised. Was it really necessary for Xian Lin'er to propose to hold a meeting of the Sea God Pavilion for a mere Soul Palace? Chapter 99 Xian Lin'er, you traitor. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After Huo Yuhao and the others had left for a long time, Meier helped Yan Xiaozhe straighten his clothes, and scolded Yan Xiaozhe in a soft tone, Xiaozhe, you are still too impulsive today. You said that Yuhao is also Xiaodao's future husband. How can you treat him imprisoned in the evil soul master's prison? Yan Xiaozhe said angrily, as you can see, that boy doesn't have any respect for me. I am Xiaodao's teacher and the dean of Shrek Academy. But he doesn't listen to anything I say. I can say 10 sentences. Meier said with relief, after all, the child is still young. He is young and full of energy and is ignorant. Plus, with Xian Lin'er protecting him, he is naturally more lawless. We will gradually remind him in the future. The child will one day understand that we are here for him. Good. Meier subconsciously teased Xian Lin'er, and then she realized that this opponent no longer needed to be targeted. She felt a little complicated inside, and suddenly she wanted to see Xian Lin'er alone again and say something that could only be said between former love rivals. Xiaozhe, let me go see Xian Lin'er. For such a trivial matter as the Soul Palace, we really shouldn't disturb the elders. Yan Xiaozhe nodded. After Meier left, Yan Xiaozhe thought of Xian Lin'er's indifferent attitude today when she rejected him thousands of miles away. He was secretly angry for a while and wanted to win back Xian Lin'er. Meier and Lin'er have always been incompatible. I have to go take a look. Yan Xiaozhe muttered to himself and walked towards the Soul Guidance Department. On the other side, in Xian Lin'er's office, Huo Yuhao looked at the beautiful master who was still cold-faced and asked with concern, "Teacher, is it really okay for you to have a falling out with Dean Yan today? Will it not have any impact on the college?" He blamed himself. "It's all because I built this Soul Palace that the teacher is in such trouble." Obviously, Huo Yuhao not only knows how to taste tea, he can also make tea. Xian Lin'er's expression softened slightly and she said, "It's okay. If I wasn't optimistic about the Soul Palace, I wouldn't agree to you becoming the Soul Palace's teacher. You don't have to blame yourself. As my disciple, the teacher will naturally support you." Huo Yuhao asked with concern, "But is it really necessary for the teacher to hold a Poseidon Pavilion meeting for the sake of the Soul Palace, that the Poseidon Pavilion meeting is the highest meeting of Shrek Academy? Whenever something big happens, the principals and deputy deans of the martial arts department, the Soul Guidance department, and the titled Douluo elders will gather at the Poseidon Pavilion to discuss and vote. Except for the pavilion master, everyone else there is only one voting right." Xian Lin'er tapped Huo Yuhao's forehead and said, "Don't worry about it. The academy needs some changes now, or the Soul Palace you built with you is an opportunity for change. You can just leave this matter to me, teacher, and just practice hard." Huo Yuhao nodded obediently, thinking of the 10,000-year-old whale gum reward he had just received today, and he had an idea in his mind. With a flash of his hand, he took out the whale glue and asked, "Teacher, can you help me protect the law? I got the reward from the arena competition today, which is a piece of whale glue that lasts 10,000 years. You did a good job in the arena competition. I softened it for you." Xian Lin'er praised. She took the whale glue and green flames appeared in her hands. The whale glue, which was as hard as dark iron, slowly softened, and a strange wave of the aroma emanates from the whale gum, condensing and not dissipating. "The quality of the whale gum is pretty good. Take it as soon as possible," Xian Lin'er said as she delivered the whale gum to Huo Yuhao. After a while, Huo Yuhao swallowed a large piece of whale gum. A stream of heat flowed through his limbs. Sweat gradually appeared on his body, and his body gradually turned red. "Keep your mind close and refine it quickly," Xian Lin'er reminded. Huo Yuhao followed the instructions and sat cross-legged on the ground, activating his soul power to accelerate the absorption of the medicinal power. At the same time, a sense of restlessness spread from his body to his heart. This is because of another effect of whale glue. It has an aphrodisiac effect on men. Huo Yuhao ate so much in one go, the aphrodisiac effect was naturally very strong, but it actually had no effect on Huo Yuhao. He has the body of a succubus. If he is aroused, others will laugh him to death. However, Huo Yuhao still pretended to have been tricked. His pink eyes were shining brightly, and he began to tear up his clothes. When Xian Lin'er saw this, she recalled that whale gum had aphrodisiac properties, and it only worked on men. She had never touched a man, so naturally she would not deliberately remember such a thing. She didn't have any experience, so she didn't know how to help her disciple for a while, so she could only send her disciple to see the medical soul master. Xian Lin'er supported Huo Yuhao, and as soon as she grabbed his hand, she felt a feeling that hit her soul. He had that weird ability. Xian Lin'er thought that because of the aphrodisiac effect, Huo Yuhao subconsciously turned on his abilities. She resisted the temptation to burst out soul power fluctuations and hurt her disciples, but she herself became completely paralyzed due to a single thought. Huo Yuhao took advantage of the situation and hugged Xian Lin'er in his arms. At this time, the beautiful master was so fragile, without any power and awe of the dean of the Soul Guidance Department. A pair of green phoenix eyes were filled with water, and the cold color in his eyes was slowly growing. Slowly faded, and slowly became confused. Naturally, Huo Yuhao would not miss such a great opportunity today. The beautiful master has just had a falling out with his first love, and the years of obsession have faded away, so it's a good time to take advantage of the situation. He leaned over pretending to be dazed, and at the same time put his hands into the beautiful master's clothes. As the shadow approached, Xian Lin'er suddenly opened her eyes wide. She was kissed by her apprentice. This traitor. Xian Lin'er weakly pushed Huo Yuhao away, but it had no effect. At the same time, her will to resist was also eroded by the succubus body. Gradually, Xian Lin'er slowly closed her eyes and began to obey Huo Yuhao. Her heroic eyebrows furrowed slightly, her nose wrinkled slightly, and with a slight hum, she took the initiative to wrap her arms around Huo Yuhao. In response to a poem, the falling red is not a heartless thing, it turns into spring mud to protect the flowers. Huo Yuhao himself is that flower. After about half an hour, Huo Yuhao pretended to regain his will and closed the succubus body. He looked at Xian Lin'er with a guilty look on his face and said apologetically, "Teacher, I'm sorry." Xian Lin'er raised her eyebrows, glared at Huo Yuhao angrily, tried hard to suppress the softness in her tone, and said coldly, "Don't call me teacher." That she seemed to have seen through this disciple's true nature, and there was no sincerity in her apology. If he could stop when he said he was sorry, she would be able to accept his apology a little bit. Now, don't think about it. What should I call you? Huo Yuhao's eyes wandered, he thought for a moment, and said softly, "Should I call him wife in the future?" Xian Lin'er glared at Huo Yuhao. Huo Yuhao continued to test, "Daughter-in-law?" Xian Lin'er held back her shyness and stared at Huo Yuhao angrily. "Lady? Huo Yuhao, are you very proud?" Xian Lin'er finally shouted angrily. Huo Yuhao said softly, "The teacher is so beautiful, and he is also a dignified Douluo, the dean of the Soul Guidance Department of Shrek Academy. Shouldn't I be proud?" Huo Yuhao found that the beautiful master was really interesting. Every time he called her teacher or wife, she would get very nervous, which made Huo Yuhao unable to help but want to tease her more. Xian Lin'er said angrily, "You rebellious disciple, I will expel you from the school today." Huo Yuhao warned in a gentle voice, "Teacher, there is no precedent for expelling a master in mainland China, so your idea is unrealistic." This traitor is trying to contradict her now. Xian Lin'er was ashamed and angry, her jade face was blushing and glowing, she didn't know whether she was ashamed or angry. Huo Yuhao comforted him, "Teacher, it doesn't matter. When I become stronger, who will dare to say anything about us in the future? If you don't want to, just don't let anyone know about our relationship." After saying that, Huo Yuhao was stunned for a moment, and said vehemental voice, "Teacher, I'm afraid there's nothing we can do about this later. Someone already knows about our relationship. Do you want to kill someone and silence them?"